The Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo has been synonymous with conflict for decades. It is a region plagued by violence, its vast mineral wealth fueling a complex web of armed groups and state actors vying for control. The presence of over 120 armed groups, each with its own agenda and alliances, makes the conflict particularly intractable. This ongoing instability has resulted in a dire humanitarian crisis, with millions displaced and countless lives lost. When Félix Tshisekedi assumed the presidency in 2019, there was cautious optimism. Could this transition of power, the first peaceful one in the DRC's history, usher in a new era of peace? Unfortunately, the early hope proved short-lived. Violence has escalated under Tshisekedi's watch, particularly in the provinces of North Kivu and Ituri. The reasons for this surge in violence are complex. They include the fragmentation of existing armed groups, the emergence of new ones, and the failure of the government to address the root causes of the conflict. Furthermore, the security forces, often accused of corruption and human rights abuses, have proven incapable of providing security or winning the trust of the population. The plethora of armed groups operating in eastern DRC complicates the conflict significantly. These groups, ranging from local militias to larger, more organized forces, compete for resources, territory, and influence. One group that has gained particular notoriety in recent years is the M23. Regional analyst, the M23, a predominantly Tutsi rebel group, re-emerged in 2021 after years of relative inactivity. Its resurgence has been marked by a series of brutal attacks on civilians and clashes with the Congolese army. In March 2023, the M23 captured the strategic town of Bunagana, highlighting the group's growing strength and the government's inability to contain it. The M23's resurgence is a stark reminder of the persistent threat posed by armed groups in eastern DRC. It also underscores the regional dimensions of the conflict, with accusations of Rwandan support for the M23 further inflaming tensions. The international community has long been involved in trying to bring peace to eastern DRC. The United Nations peacekeeping mission, MONUSCO, has been present in the country for over 2 decades. However, despite its size and mandate, MONUSCO has struggled to effectively protect civilians or address the root causes of the conflict.
Regional actors such as the East African community have also launched initiatives to stabilize the region. However, these efforts have often been hampered by a lack of coordination, competing interests, and limited resources.
While international and regional support is crucial, lasting peace in eastern DRC will ultimately require the Congolese government to take greater responsibility. This includes addressing the grievances of marginalized communities, tackling corruption within the security forces, and building a more inclusive and accountable state. In a desperate attempt to regain control of the security situation in North Kivu and Ituri, President Tshisekedi declared a state of siege in May 2021. This exceptional measure granted the military sweeping powers, including administrative control over the 2 provinces. However, the state of siege has failed to quell the violence. Instead, it has been marred by accusations of human rights abuses by the security forces and has further fueled a climate of impunity.
The militarization of the response has also diverted resources from essential services, exacerbating the humanitarian crisis. The state of siege, initially presented as a temporary measure, has been repeatedly extended without any meaningful public debate. This lack of transparency and accountability has raised concerns about the erosion of democratic norms and the potential for abuse.
President Tshisekedi, facing mounting criticism of the state of siege, has announced plans to gradually ease the measures before the December 2023 elections. However, there has been little public debate about the effectiveness of the state of siege or the way forward. This lack of open discussion is concerning, as it prevents a genuine national conversation about the root causes of the conflict and the best ways to achieve lasting peace.
The absence of a clear and inclusive strategy for addressing the violence in eastern DRC only deepens the sense of uncertainty and despair among the population. The ongoing violence and the government's heavy-handed response have severely undermined public trust in Tshisekedi's ability to deliver on his promise of peace.
The situation in eastern DRC remains dire, and a sustainable solution will require a comprehensive approach that addresses the complex interplay of political, economic, and social factors fueling the conflict.